Welcome to the Cowboys Report. Let's get into some more news and rumors around your Dallas Cowboys. First up, is Rico Gathers the next great NFL tight end? Well, if you ask Rico, he certainly seems to think so, but we're not quite as confident yet on Rico Gathers. Just one star on this one, and we'll explain what that means here in just a minute. But with Rico Gathers, he came out and said in a recent Instagram post that he's going to be the next best tight end in this league. I love the confidence from Rico Gathers, but let's not anoint him quite yet. I know that the upside is there. He looked great in the preseason, but he hasn't played an actual NFL down. He has no actual NFL catches because the preseason doesn't really count. He missed all of last year with a pretty serious concussion. Let's pump the brakes on Rico a little bit. I think he gets the chance to prove himself, but he's not there quite yet. Hello friends, I'm Tom Downey. Follow me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney for more Cowboys coverage. Let's get back to the news and rumors, but first, you'll see the stars throughout the show. Here's what they mean. 0 stars means fights Odell Beckham won against the net. It's 0, it's fake news. Don't buy this rumor. 1 star means there is a small shred of truth. 2 stars means the people are talking, and it's firmly in that rumor category. 3 stars means it's pretty likely, not quite a done deal yet, but barring something crazy, this is going to be true. And 4 stars means Dez caught it. It is indeed a fact. To our second rumor now, are the Cowboys not going to spend big in free agency? And well, folks, I know a lot of you guys want to spend big money on a free agent receiver or maybe an offensive lineman or a defensive player. Don't expect it to happen this year. Expect more of the same from recent years with the Dallas Cowboys. They're just not going to have the money available to get anyone bigger than a Nolan Carroll type signing. Now, as of right now, they've got about $19 million in cap space. They can get to 33 with various moves like extending or restructuring Travis Frederick and cutting guys like James Hanna and Benson Mayowa. But even if you get to the $33 million, you're going to be back around to 16-15 after the DeMarcus Lawrence deal or franchise tag. And oh, by the way, that $16 million doesn't include guys like Anthony Hitchens or the rest of your own free agents or having Zack Martin or filling out the rest of your roster with depth and veteran guys. So you won't see the Cowboys throw $12 million at somebody unless they make some really big moves, which we don't think they will. So it's 3 stars. Pretty likely that, unfortunately, it's going to be more of the same, some lesser free agency signings and not a big splash move. To number 3 on our rumor-o-meter here. Should Dez take a pay cut? And this has very much been back and forth around the Cowboys. He should be cut. He should be traded. He should take a pay cut. Well, DeMarcus Ware has once again chimed in, and he says, yeah, Dez should take a pay cut. So DeMarcus thinks so, but I don't know if Dez thinks so, and that's why it's only 2 stars. Ware does want Ryan to take a pay cut, as I think pretty much everyone watching wants Dez to do. But Bryant hasn't shown much interest in doing so and taking that pay cut. Now, a pay cut would eliminate the rumblings of a release, but Dez wants to get his money, and I don't blame Dez on that end. But at the same time, Dez should also be aware of, hey, I can make our team better. And that brings us back to the overarching offseason question around Dez Bryant. What should the Cowboys do with him? A heart if you think that they should keep him, a like to cut him, a wow face for a trade, or a laughing face for a pay cut. I think the pay cut would be ideal, but in the end, it's either a pay cut or they keep him outright. Get to our next rumor here, some draft-focused ones. Is Harold Landry an option at number 19 for the Dallas Cowboys? And people are most certainly talking. Jeff Kavanaugh of 105.3 says he could be an option. I've seen some other reporters out there say Landry could be an option for the Dallas Cowboys. And 19 is around the right range for Landry this year in what is very much a lesser pass rushing class. I will say this when it comes to Landry. Had he come out, he might not have made last year. Had he come out last year, he might not have made it to the Cowboys pick. And if he did, I think they might have taken Landry over Taco Charlton. He's a better pure pass rusher. And while the value isn't bad, the need doesn't really match up. The Cowboys have bigger needs than adding another defensive end when they just took Taco Charlton, and they're going to retain DeMarcus Lawrence. So it's an option, but kind of more of an, oh no, all of our guys we wanted are off the board. Let's just take the best athlete we have, and maybe that ends up being Harold Landry. Speaking of best athlete, that brings us to our next rumor. Could the Cowboys go cornerback in the first round? And Dane Brugler is very much on the Mike Hughes hype train, the cornerback out of UCF. But I'm only giving this one 1 star. I do not see the Cowboys going cornerback in round 1. They just spent a second-round pick on Chidobe Awuzie. They just spent a third-round pick on Jordan Lewis. They might keep Owen Skindrick, although I doubt they do that. They have Anthony Brown. They could, hopefully, move Byron Jones down to cornerback. Now, maybe Hughes is the best available player on the board, but I don't foresee that happening. The Cowboys have invested enough at corner. They're going to go look elsewhere in the first round. Maybe they spend a late-round pick on a corner, but I would be stunned if Mike Hughes is the pick at number 19. To our next rumor, and I'd be equally stunned by this one as well. Could Calvin Ridley be on the board for the Cowboys with their first-round pick? And this comes from Bleacher Report's Matt Miller, who says it could happen, but I'm only giving this one 1 star because, yeah, maybe it could happen. I'm saying there's a chance, but do not get your hopes up here, folks. Ridley is the top wide receiver in this year's class. And although Miller thinks he could fall, I have a really tough time seeing teams like the Dolphins, if they lose Jarvis Landry, the Chicago Bears, the San Francisco 49ers, the Baltimore Ravens, the Arizona Cardinals, all passing on Calvin Ridley and having him fall to the 19th overall pick. I just don't see it happening. Now, if he is on the board, it would be a great pick, which brings us to our next reaction poll. Let's say all the top guys are on the board in some miracle draft. Vita Vea is there, my boy. Calvin Ridley's on the board. So is Roquan Smith. Who would you take? One of those 3 guys? Or do you want somebody else altogether? If so, let me know who in the comments, but keep those reactions flowing. Halfway done here with our rumor roundup section. Let's get to one more draft one. Should the Cowboys spend a top 100 pick on a linebacker? And in an ideal scenario, yeah, I would love to see Dallas go add a linebacker, get another one, have Jason Garrett have some more help at the linebacker spot. But I don't know what's actually going to happen. I think it's more in that rumor category because here's what could happen for the Dallas Cowboys. Let's say you get your defensive tackle in the first 3 rounds. You got to get an offensive guard, and you got to get a wide receiver. Well, at that point, where's the top 100 pick on a linebacker? You don't have 4 of them unless you move way up in the NFL draft. I know you're going to lose Anthony Hitchens. I would present this as an alternative idea. Why don't you go in some order, guard, DT, wide receiver, especially if it's a Vita Vea type in the first round, and then you add multiple linebackers in rounds 4 and round 5 and so on. So that's what I'm thinking for the Dallas Cowboys. So they could spend one, I wouldn't mind it, but I don't know if it's the most ideal option. Now, we do have an update here for you guys on one DeMarcus Lawrence, and we'll get to that in just a second, but first a word from our sponsor, The Guild. I've actually got 2 updates here for you, but we'll start with our first one up. Whether or not the Cowboys will tag DeMarcus Lawrence, and folks, this is going to happen. Now, today is the first available day that the Cowboys can tag DeMarcus Lawrence. The deadline has now opened up. They haven't done it yet, at least as of this airing time. Now, maybe it happens tomorrow or the day after, but it will be done before the March 6th deadline. There is 0 chance the Cowboys will let DeMarcus Lawrence reach the open market. The whole point of this, by the way, is to get him tagged so that you can then work out a long-term contract. The deadline to be tagged is March 6th. It'll cost the Cowboys $17.6 million, and then the long-term contract deadline is up in July on July 16th. I think there's a good chance Dallas gets that deal done. However, and this brings us to our next rumor, sounds like the Cowboys haven't had much contract discussions with DeMarcus Lawrence. This one is pretty likely 3 stars here that Dallas and DeMarcus Lawrence haven't really engaged in major contract discussions. Now, there could have been some lesser ones, and I think you'll see it pick back up at the NFL Combine. That's where a lot of these things kind of pick up steam and traction. For DeMarcus Lawrence, I think there are 2 main contracts to keep an eye on in terms of what he could get. First off is the Olivier Vernon one, who, by the way, was negotiated with DeMarcus Lawrence's current agent. That came in at 5 years, $85 million, $52.5 million guaranteed. Then Vernon was the same age as DeMarcus Lawrence. So that is what DeMarcus Lawrence is going to want. The Cowboys are going to hope to get him like, hey, can you take this Calais Campbell deal instead? 4 years, $60 million, half of it is guaranteed. Can you get something like that? And that's where the discussion is going to be dragged out between Lawrence and the Cowboys. And I want to know from you guys, are you willing to pay DeMarcus Lawrence $17 million per year, right in line with that Vernon contract? That's a lot of money for a guy who had a great year this year, but was banged up the previous year. and didn't quite explode the way the Cowboys thought he was going to until his contract year, so there is some reason for concern. As for my own thoughts, look, the Cowboys have been itching to get their defensive end who can be that war daddy Jerry Jones once. Now you've got him on your roster. Let's make sure you pay him as well. Couple more rumors and news here for you. Number 10, was the Dallas offensive line not top 10 in 2017? Yeah, this one seems pretty likely as well. This comes from NFL.com. They put together their top 10 offensive line list. Cowboys weren't on it. And it makes some sense. Look, they struggled without Tyron Smith at left tackle, and that was a big reason why they missed the top 10. They allowed the 12th highest pressure rate in the NFL. That's closer to bottom 10 than it is top 10. It's only 3 stars because if you only include them at their full health, I think they were still top 10. But Smith was banged up last year, and that's a factor you have to consider. So that's why the Cowboys' offensive line wasn't really a top 10 unit last year. Let's get to some very happy news here. Did Kayvon Frazier take 600 kids to go see Black Panther? Yes, he did. 4 stars on this one. Frazier took a whole bunch of kids to go watch the Black Panther movie, which, by the way, no spoilers in the comment section. I have not seen it yet. I'm going later this week. If any of you guys ruin it for me, I'm going to be really upset, so please don't do that. And then more good news for Frazier. He said he'll take more kids in the future. That's the type of leadership and community activism you love to see out of your young players. One final rumor here for you guys. Could Sean Payton be the Cowboys head coach in 2019? Well, the people are most certainly talking. Namely, Todd Archie put together a bunch of potential options for the Dallas Cowboys, and we'll have our own, by the way, later this week. Stay tuned for that. And if the Cowboys miss the playoffs, Jason Garrett's gone. He's not going to come back unless there are a whole bunch of injuries, and even then, I don't know if Jerry's going to keep Jason Garrett. Archer says Payton could be an option as one of the big-name targets. And look, Payton coached the Cowboys from 2003 to 05. He's always gotten along pretty well with Jerry Jones. They have a little bit of a back and forth there. I'd love to see Sean Payton. I don't know if it's the most realistic option, but I do want to know who you guys would have as your top target. I'll give you some other options on a future show. So keep those comments flowing in the comments section. All right, folks, once again, I'm Tom Downey. Follow me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney. We'll see you all again on Thursday. Until then, you stay classy out there.